So now I'm going to teach you what you have to do for additional decorating time that you put on your cake, because a lot of times that we bake the cake where ingredients are coming into picture and then we are calculating the profit, and a lot of additional expenses, like say maybe you're using fresh flowers, or maybe the cake toppers and things like that, where what is the cost of the additional materials that you're using on the cake, so you know how to evaluate them when you are pricing your cakes. But there are times when you have to be spending out a lot of time decorating the cake. At that time, then it comes like, I am spending so much time, what am I going to evaluate that particular part of time that I am using on the cake decorating aspect. So to decode that particular section, I have a specific values here that I would want you to think, which I am going to explain now, and then input the values that you see here, which are the artist charges that come as individual parameters that are given here. So now the first thing you have to think about is, what is the expected monthly salary that we would like to have as part of cake artists? Okay, because it depends on a lot of things, like the skill level and the years of experience that we have in this industry, and how good our work is. Based on that, you need to decide a monthly salary. Okay, so it could be anywhere between say 30,000 to even up to 80,000. This is like, say, for people who are having an experience, say for about a year old baker to about, say, maybe a 6 to 7 years experienced baker, could range anywhere between 30,000 to 80,000 on an average. But you can maybe assume, or you can also think that I have learned from a lot of places and I am experienced, and my skill level is to the precision, and my work is like really great, and 80,000, the highest limit, whatever I am telling you now, you could feel that is lower. So that is definitely fine for you to think so. And your monthly salary could be maybe 1.5 lakh, like 1.5 lakhs. Is up to you to first decide, this is what I deserve to have as my monthly pay for the artistic work that I am putting in, for the time I am putting in. This does not involve your time for your baking or your filling, your frosting, and completing the cake with a crumb coat, or even the sharp edges and giving out the cake. The time for which will be calculated separately, which will be a regular cake. For a regular cake to go out, obviously it has to look good. Obviously you should be skilled enough to get that output and send the cake out, right? So this particular thing, what we are going to input are for things, say maybe like a painting on the cake, or maybe you're working on, say, maybe a technique called pointillism, where a lot of time is involved, and then maybe you're making sugar flowers, like there are maybe 50 flowers, and then maybe you were spending 2 to 3 days to pull it off. And for the estimate of that particular time, for that additional skill you have, and that effort goes on the cake, and what are we going to price that? So that is what this particular section is about. And you can also include the first thing that you need to include here is the salary, right? So for a monthly salary, say assume I am going to need a 50,000. Okay, so which means 4 weeks of time will be a month. Then after which, how many days in a month am I willing to work? Like, say you need weekends for yourself, or maybe for bakers, obviously Sundays and Saturdays, when there are parties, we have to be baking. And but you actually be having to take a day or two off. Decide that, say assume like maybe Mondays we are taking a break, and then we are going to work 6 days in a week. Then the second thing that you need to input here is how many days in a week you're going to work, which is 6, what I have included. And how many hours in a day are we prepared to work, like 8 hours, maybe 12 hours, or maybe just 5 hours. I just want to not taking too much of the time away from my family, but and I am skilled enough that I will be spending only these many hours for making certain techniques. Now in that way, The working hours is also what I will plan for me to do. So I'm entering 8, and then you can see the value of my hourly income is calculated automatically. So we are not supposed to go and delete anything from this particular white cell. Anywhere that you can correct, add or remove, delete, do whatever on this particular workbook, the Excel sheet is on the cells that are shaded in green color, because the white cells are supposed to be remaining like that, and there are formulas, and if you by mistake delete a part of the cell, then you will not be able to put the same formula back, or maybe the rest of the Excel may not be working in the right way. So you could download it back from the lesson again and then start over from there. Just see whatever you have already done, you could just put it back. If you're able to maybe copy paste that particular cell's formula, well and good. Otherwise, it is better to start over, because you don't want to miss out on a formula. The rest of the calculations could go wrong. Okay, so now this particular segment is to talk about the artist charges. So you have to decide your monthly salary, and then you have to decide how many days in a week are you willing to work, and in every particular day how many hours are you willing to work. When you first sort that out, then you have per hour what is the worth of my time that I want to put to work on something. Say suppose there is a case where a client wants a cake in which there are, say, maybe some 10 figurines, then you are going to allocate that particular cake to a client. You can tell them 3 figurines can go together with a cake, which could be a complimentary figurines. You don't have to charge for them. But when the rest of the figurines, obviously you cannot get the same price for 10 figurines in place of 3, right? For the rest of the figurines you have to charge. It is also up to you to charge for all the 10 figurines, but it is just a suggestion, because you don't want to put it on the client saying that, hey, even for 1 figurine I'm going to charge you so much. So you can, as a gesture, you could give them an option saying that 2 figurines or up to 3 figurines come along with the price of the cake. But if there are more figurines, then each of the figurine will be costed. Now, what would be the cost of such figurines? Then this is the place that will come up to tell you what will be the cost of the figurines. Now there is the next sheet where for each particular cake you have to be sitting down and putting on the values of what figurines are there, what flowers are there, and any additional painting, or maybe you're working on ruffles, or maybe you're working on sequins where you have to be picking out one element after the other and sticking on the cake, and there are a lot of efforts going on there. So first thing is per hour what is the charge, and the second thing is how much time am I going to take to finish this particular technique. You should be able to judge up front and then tell. It may be plus or minus, that doesn't matter, but you know your skill, you know the time that you will be putting on that particular technique, and you should be able to judge and tell, okay, for this technique I am going to take an hour. For this technique, so in 1 hour, how many figurines would you be able to make? Say a simple maybe a cow, or maybe a hen, or maybe a tiger, or something like that. Then if it is, say, maybe half an hour's time you're going to finish a figurine, then you know the cost of a figurine that you will be making will be half of this, right? So half an hour is like half of 1 hour, right? So it will be, for if it is 260, say approximated to 250, then you know 125 rupees will be the cost of a figurine. So that is how you need to come down to. Say suppose now here I feel like I'm really skilled, and like I told, I just need 80,000 monthly salary, because output that I am going to give out for every particular figurine, or the finish in my cakes is like to the precision and extraordinarily well, then obviously your value will go up, and your per hour charges also should go up, right? So you start from increasing your monthly salary, that will change to 80,000, like I have changed on this Excel. Now the number of days doesn't have to change, or maybe you decide, hey, no, I just need 2 weeks of 2 days of break, or then maybe I decided to work only 5 hours in a day. Say suppose now I am just deciding that only 5 days in a week I have to work. It's up to you. And 5 hours in a day is what I am willing to work, and then my per hour value automatically changes to 800 rupees. So what will be the cost of maybe a flower that you would end up making in 1 hour will be 800. So what will be the cost of a painting that you're going to sit down and work for 2 hours will be double of this 1800. That you don't have to do, that also will be automatically done in the next sheet that I will be teaching you in the upcoming lesson. Now what you need to understand, what I'm trying to insist is sit down and then think through. So this part I cannot do for each of you, because each of you who are taking up this course have different skill set, and you need to decide, so this is what I want, so that should be from you. What I could do is automate the process, and depending on the time and depending on your skill set, what you decide, then the final pricing will be automated for you. So this one sheet, which is the master sheet, is important, which should come from your efforts, especially the artist charges that I am talking about. And also the master sheet where the ingredients, this is the inventory place where you have all the ingredients that are priced from where you are going to buy. So once this master sheet is set, then it will be very easier for us to move on to the next lesson, where we are just going to start working on the recipes and adding the ingredients based on the recipe. So let's move on to the lesson, which will be interesting to know what each recipe is going to give us, the cost of that particular recipe and the profit margin and different other interesting things in the next lesson.